Well, welcome back to the Sloppy Modeler, and welcome back to the Tatiana Vanship from Hasegawa. Just wanted now to put together a few passes of the Vanship, go through some of the things that we did to bring this to a conclusion, and work on its reveal. Welcome everyone, glad to have you as a viewer today, and I sure hope that you enjoy what you're about to see. Spend a little bit of time going through this with my handheld camera in a minute, and you'll see that. And then we'll go back into some more beauty shots, if you will. Right now what you're seeing is a completed unit, self-contained. It doesn't need a wall wart as it is. It doesn't need a wall wart to plug in. It's done with my 5-volt USB battery packs and wired in with one of the switches. And I really worked towards putting it together where it would have just a self-contained system, especially with the lighting that you're going to see here as we go through as it gets darker. But there's a quick indication of all the lights on, and as we do our first passes, it kind of shows you what we're looking at from the Vanship, the base, and those train lights, and we'll talk about those in a second here. But for right now, I'm really thrilled the way that this turned out. And I hope you enjoy the voyage as we go through the finale, and a little bit of the reveal on the Vanship from last Exile. Alright, so it is a bit late at night, but this is the first time I've turned all these lights on in the middle of the night, or in the dark. And so you see I've got 4, they're train lights to scale. And I wanted to light that up. You can see it makes a huge difference just by lighting it up and giving that Vanship a much brighter view when it's dark and nothing's around. I built this little mechanic stand scaffolding there so that they could climb in and out of the Vanship. And then I painted the let's get a look at that red light here on the side. Just amazing how nice that turned out. I'm so pleased. The decal looks fantastic on the sides. The ports on the sides turned out, and then the gloss that all of this has is phenomenal. And I think this can see it pretty well. There's a pretty nice lens over that, both of those lights on each side, and that has really reduced the glare and given me just a nice headlight kind of look. And then on the wheel spat there's another decal there. A little more light will show that a little better, but in the middle of the night I thought that I'd fire up all these lights. It does get bright if you've got it all coming at you. And this color is cold rolled steel from Mission Models, and then this is road hazard yellow painted on the sides, and then the black stripes and the white stripes are just vinyl tape, and just to kind of give us a look of a, I don't know, runway or hangar bay is probably better what I was going after there. Here's that green light on this side. That turned out fantastic, and the decal here looks just amazing. Also on top you've got that glass now. You've got the glass for the windshields, and then there's actually a right in front of the windshield is her aiming sight for her guns, for Tatiana's guns. Going around the back one more time, we're coming into view with that red and green. And I know it's blowing it out a little bit, but it turned out just amazing as close proximity as those two are. And now this looks much more like, that gray looks much more like galvanized steel, possibly there, rather than just gray. So that turned out really nice. And then just coming around, you can see the lights inside the Vanship, the lights there with the interior cockpits of both the navigator and Tatiana, if you will. And there's the outrigger, and I think the oh, yep, you can see the steam bombs coming into play. One on each side there, lower sides. Sorry about blowing out the screens, but that's kind of the way it works. The light posts were painted with just an flat aluminum paint, and that just and then just glued in. And I wanted to give this kind of a look of something being in the hangar, and I think I've got that there. So we'll do some more filming and video, and then we'll post this as an update. All right, so hey, making a pass here across the starboard side of the Vanship. One of the things that I did use these lights that are they're train lights for train sets like HO scale or something like that. I don't have, and I wish I did, I wish I had a little more Victorian style lights for this. I mean, this does have that steampunk style or approach to design, and I think it would be really cool to have more like an iron lattice work of lights that go through it, and you'll see them in a little more detail in a bit. But by putting these 4 lights in there, and I won't make the Picard joke of 4 lights, although it's my favorite, by putting these lights in there, it helps to light up that runway, and it helps to light up the hangar. And again, that's what I was trying to go for, was that hangar system, where if you were on like the nuclear, actually they call them Claudia units in the last Exile. In that Claudia universe, you've got a Claudia-driven carrier, and essentially all of these van ships ride on top of the carrier, and they float in the air, fly in the air, and it's like an airship carrier rather than a floating regular seagoing carrier. But you know, some of the things that really stick out when you do those lights is how well they light up the runway, and how well they light up that yellow emergency or yellow highway emergency color with the lights from above it. Plus, it gives a really nice glow over the top of the red and provides a nice shine along those lines and curves. And you'll see a few more of those as we get a couple of different angles. But right now, coming around, you can see the you can see those ports beside each of the cockpits, and those are decals, and they went on fantastic. And then next to them on each side, of course, is the kind of where you would put your steps or your feet and climb into the cockpits. And I'm really glad that those lights that you see in the cockpits are coming together, that they come out really, really bright. Tatiana's is less bright than what the one for the Navigator is, so that really helps to see where we're at. Now, coming around on the front, you know, we talk about the lights there. So there are 4 bright headlights in this Vanship. And then additionally on each side is a marker light. So on the port side, the left side, is the red marker light, and it's just starting to come into view there a little bit. And then you can see where the wheel spats, you'll see those when we go into more of a daylight program, but the wheel spats have got those nice black, I taped them off and then painted them black, and then painted the rest of the wheel spats in red. Gives a really nice deep red gloss to that, and additionally, it really helps to give a place for that decal that goes onto those wheel spats. Also, I'm really tried my hand the first time at scratch building that little mechanic stand or scaffolding that went next to it. I wish I had a ladder that went up to it, but I don't. That's okay though, because I think you know, any athlete or a ship captain would be able to climb up the side of that scaffolding and then jump in and out of the Vanship. But I thought it was kind of neat that you see in the last Exile episodes there frequently Lavi, which is Klaus and Lavi. It's another set of characters, and they're always leaning on those scaffoldings and working on the Vanships, trying to get them to fly, and try to make those repairs on their ship between the times that they have the dogfights and when they need to come back and make sure that their ship flies from all the damage that it's taken a little bit earlier. So just again coming around, and this is mostly in the pitch dark. You can see that red dot there on the table, and now the green dot coming up on the table, and that's that rear marker light. And I'm so proud of the way that came together with having those two side by side, that I think that's probably one of the things that was the most difficult to do, and yet one of the things that just turned out really well. One of the things I was a little bit concerned about is that I added a gloss coat to the gray tops of the wings. And originally that RML gray was very greenish steel gray, but then as soon as I put the gloss coat on, it made it just pop out to look much more like that galvanized tin or galvanized steel, something that you would see in an airship like this. And I think that that's one way of being able to change up the look of a finish without changing the color. And then the Claudia unit, which is that round ball there right beneath the front of Tatiana's cockpit, that's actually the motor or the steam generator that allows these Vanships to fly. They call them a Claudia unit, which interestingly is not only just a power unit, but it's their denomination of money. It's called Claudias. So, you know, it's one of those things that come out of Japan, and it's just kind of interesting the way that you know, they were able to just use language in an inventive way and go from there. Coming across the front of the Vanship here from the left to the right, you see that we've got the lights are off, but you know, you've got that front grille, which is half RLM gray and half black, and that's a gloss black. And I think that turned out really nice, that it gives a kind of a distinct look. And then coming across it again, the same angle, utilizing now with the lights on, you can see how it reflects off of that runway. And then you've also got the Tatiana Vanship. That's a decal that I just applied right there. Seemed like it worked pretty good. And then coming across the back when it's lit up with the red marker lights. And then the decals that are above that marker light are really nice. In person, they one is like one of the phoenixes, and one is some text at that stage. Here's a little different camera, and sorry for the focus issues, but then when it does come into focus, you can really see up close how nice that Vanship, how nice that looks with the decal that's on the wheel spat, and then also there's a brass fitting right in front of the front nose. Above the outrigger there, and the Claudia units are shining pretty nicely at that stage. Also right here you're going to see the decal for the back of the ship, and I think it's about to come into focus. Hello, right there we go. And it's just kind of neat, that text is on both sides, and it's in Cyrillic. Also another really nice example there of how that iron, it looks like that wood has turned to iron underneath, and that's the kind of look I was going for. As an aircraft carrier hangar as it pops up. And then finally here in the dark you've got the lights that show up, and now really a nice spot there where you can see the green and the red that were set up for the marker lights at that point. In the dark, this thing lights up the night sky pretty well with all of those lights that are on there, and as a result it's a model that you could display and put out there in the middle of the evening or middle of the night, turn it on, and you could actually see with great detail exactly what this model looks like. Alright, so continuing on here now, here's again another longer shot view of the back of the Vanship. And post filming, I did go ahead and straighten up those lamps or those light posts so that they're all perpendicular and parallel. That was actually one of the bigger challenges of putting this into the base, was making sure everything was straight, and you'd get one straight and the other one would look like it was off base a little bit. But that's okay, you know, we're definitely moving forward on that. So we are quickly coming to the end of the display, or the finale of the Vanship from last Exile, Tatiana's Vanship, as she flies it around and engages in dogfights. And just a few final shots here with the lights on, but the model lights are turned off. And now we're going to do a couple of long passes with my other camera so that we can see just kind of a little bit of a viewpoint from a different angle here as we come around. That I'm very pleased with this. I think it turned out, in my eyes, the finish turned out fantastic. The seam where you have the base or the bottom of the Vanship meet the top of the Vanship right there, utilizing that Mr. Surfacer 1000 and sanding that up, that seam has completely disappeared, and now it looks like, in my opinion, it looks like an automotive finish. And a couple of pieces to bring your eye to is that hood ornament there. There are a couple that come with it, but I just like that swept back echelon, if you will. I think it gives a nice look to the Vanship. I think it makes it look like it's in motion or heading forward or flying, just as it's sitting still right there. So, and then I think once you get it under the lights and have all of the lights lit up, including the train lights there, I think it provides a nice little accent piece for the house. So with this, we're just going to do a little bit more of our final pass through here. The lights are all on. You can see the 4 headlights with their nice lenses over the top of them. You've also got the marker light coming into view there, the lights that are lit up in the cockpits. And of course, then, you know, eventually we'll get to the lights that are on the back, those 2 marker lights. Combine that with the 4 lights on the light post, and it seems to work pretty good. So with that, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for tuning into the Sloppy Modeler. I appreciate your subscriptions, your comments, and your shares and likes. If you like what you see, hit that bell there to get notified for when the next video comes out. Again, I couldn't be more pleased to have you here. You could be anywhere else in the world watching anything else, but you've chosen to spend the time with me and looking at the last Exile Tatiana Vanship. And so with that, we'll bring this to a close, and I hope you've enjoyed just my rendition of this particular ship. Thank you.